Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sandra's Authors Forum. I pray to God that you are having a wonderful day. Do me a huge favor, will you? And share. Why? Because sharing is caring. Yes, listen, I am ecstatic to be alive, and I pray to God you are as well. Who did you invite to the show tonight? Go ahead and invite someone to YouTube, Sandra's Journey into Purpose. Why? Because we're going on a journey tonight. Yes, we are. Our guest is the Honorable Dr. Barbara Brink, and I welcome her with open arms. And I would love for you to put in the comment section tonight, welcome, Dr. Barbara. Come on, everybody. Come on. Welcome. How are you tonight?
I am so well. I'm so honored to be here, Miss Jackson. I'm so happy that serendipity brought us together in Atlanta, Georgia. Can you believe?
Yes, I know.
And
Tell the people where we met.
we met everybody, myself and this lovely lady. She reached out to me. There were 500 people in the room, and Miss Jackson and I met and fell in love, and we are on a common purpose, and we wanted to be together. So
That's right.
tonight is the night.
Tonight is the night, and we are going to just jump right in this interview and talk about this lovely book. You all, I'm going to hold it up. Can you hold yours up, Barbara? Look at this. Isn't this fantastic? I absolutely love this book. Why? Because I love to travel. And so Dr. Barbara is going to talk to us about her journey through what is that?
England.
Her
Woo!
journey through England. Oh my gosh. I haven't had the opportunity to travel to England, but we can travel through you tonight. How about that?
I love it much. And honestly, Miss Jackson, this was my first trip to England.
Wow.
So, what you and I are going to share tonight with our audience is how unique this trip was and why I had to write a book about the experience.
Exactly. It has great significance for sure. All right.
Yes,
So tell me what your why is. What is your why?
my why is why are we try so hard to be the person we need to be, why we need to uh, communicate with each other, share with each other our experiences, and uh, be where we need to be. So, Miss Jackson, my why is I taught science, only science, not language arts, math, social studies, for a long time, 50 years. And I retired the day before COVID. Now, that's significant because COVID changed everything for all of us. So I had this wonderful career in the classroom, science education, for 50 years. And when I left, I left the day before COVID. So the question is, well, Dr. Temrick, what have you been doing since you retired? Well, darling, I have been writing biographies of the very science and scientists I taught. So
Wow.
Isaac Newton, Antoni von Leeuwenhoek, Charles Darwin, and Edward Jenner. I only brought these four books to your show because this is the significance of how we get to this book, A Journey Through England.
Cool. And so listen to this. Victoria, she's 20 years old and she's a brilliant brain. She says this episode is definitely timely, especially with the Queen passing away. Did that have a bad effect on you or hit home a little bit more for you since you actually visited there?
What a good
I'm
question.
telling you, she's
Thank you for being entering our show. That's fabulous. All right. So I went in April, and the queen died, as you well know, recently. So there was no anticipation that the queen was going to pass on her 70th jubilee. Oh my gosh, I'm bragging. Miss Jackson, have you noticed I'm bragging my 50 years of science in the classroom, and our Queen of England had her 70th jubilee. I'm just amazed that somebody has
Wow.
that kind of stamina for the job.
Exactly, for the job. She had a huge job. She had
Yes,
a lot of uh, naysayers, but she had a lot of people that loved her as well. And
that,
we all know that it takes hard work to get the job done. I would say she got the job done,
yeah,
and God allowed her to live an abundant life.
right, right. And I all right. So here is how we even got to this book. So in my retirement, I wrote these four biographies. I've written 31 books. 31 books are published on Amazon.com and other bookstores. Um, these four books were invited to the London Book Fair. I wrote them in my retirement, which is only 2.5 years. I've been retired, and I wrote these scientists and Isaac Newton, Edward Jenner, and Charles Darwin are British scientists. Antony van Leeuwenhoek is a Dutch scientist, but darling, he gave all his letters to the Royal Society of London. So these
Wow.
four books were invited to the London Book Fair in April 2022.
Mm.
That's why I got to England. I said, you know what? If my books are going to the book fair, I'm going with them.
Exactly, exactly. I am so happy that you took the time out to write. Writing is not easy, all right? Um, Bless us with the stamina to accomplish your will, Father God. That's a prayer from our YouTuber, all right? Um, look at this. The the Queen was a great testament of what women can do in the world. Very true, very true. Hard work pays off. Wow, 31 books, they said. 31 books in 2 years. That means she's a dedicated hard worker and she wanted to get it out for you. So tonight we would like to go and purchase. That's why we're here after all. We would like to purchase her books. Jason, um, can you tell us how we can purchase it, Dr. Barbara?
Well, darling, my name is on the screen, or Dr. Barbara Ten Brink, and you can either Google me. If you Google me, Miss Jackson, I I have been busy. I've been very productive, and I have over 200 hits. If you just Google my name, Barbara, next word 10, TEN, next word Brink, BRINK. So Barbara 10 Brink on Google or any search engine, you'll get 200 hits. If you go to Amazon.com and type in Dr. Barbara 10 Brink, three words, Barbara 10 Brink, you will get 31 books. Unbelievable. In all the publishers, all the promoters, all the marketing managers, they call me and they go, how is this possible?
This is the book you're looking for. This is the book we're holding up for you, all right? Go and purchase it now. How much is it?
I think all my books are like $10, $12.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very affordable.
very affordable.
Um, very affordable. One moment, please. All right, Dr. Barbara, can you tell us where you were born?
All right, so Miss Jackson asked me to give y'all a little background of my life, and the beautiful thing is the connection to our show tonight is my father was military, so he opted to carry his family with him. Now, in the American military system, you can leave your family in a central location and you come back and forth, or the military allows you to carry your family with the person husband or wife who's serving in the military. My parents opted to go with my dad. So that gave me wanderlust. I traveled with my parents from earliest age, uh, a primary school, not primary school, preschool in Japan, elementary school in Germany, and junior high in Washington, D.C. Unbelievable opportunities. And we traveled. So now that I'm an adult and I'm looking for my profession, I realize that I am a science teacher and probably been a science teacher my whole life because my parents traveled and we went to uh, the Bavarian Alps, the Mount Fuji in Japan. We hiked, we looked at nature, we dug under leaf litter, and my parents encouraged that curiosity that I had.
And that's amazing. That is totally amazing. I love to travel, as I said, and you've gotten to travel and to live in various cities and countries. And so we thank God for that opportunity. Number one, not many people have that opportunity. Can you tell us how did you get your last name and why
Oh,
is the T? Because that was my first question. Why is the T not capitalized?
this is very confusing for a lot of people, darling, and not just you, Miss Jackson. So if we look at this book through the microscopes of Antoni von Leeuwenhoek, Antoni von Leeuwenhoek is known as the father of microbiology. Father of microbiology in the 1700s. His name is Dutch Van Leeuwenhoek. Notice that his Van, Miss Jackson, is not capitalized. So, but look at my name at the bottom here, where the author's name is Dr. Barbara Ten Brink. It's also Dutch, and the Van and the ten are prepositional phrases. Ten means of the, and Brink means the city square, of the square.
Ah,
So the beautiful thing about your question is that in this book, I put two people together. I call it a biography. And Antoni van Leeuwenhoek is a scientist using the microscope. He also was a fabric merchant. All right. Ten Brink family in history, shown in researched in every type of analog you can imagine. Um, the Ten Brink family were merchants of fabric. So in
cool.
my fiction part to entertain my readers, I put these two families together
Very
and
cool.
Dutch, and so the setting is Amsterdam.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. So, a question on the screen. This is from a little Sandra Jackson, and she says, "If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you choose to live?"
Well, that's such a hard question. And well, the value of travel is that you do get to experience different cultures, different cities, different continents even. And my favorite city because of who we are is Washington D.C.
Are you serious?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I would not have expected that answer from you. Can you tell them? Listen, the next question is, where is your favorite place you visited?
Well, I just today, darlings, oh my gosh, I just today loaded my 31st book on Amazon.com, and the title is Into the Canyon with Mary Coulter. I can't show it to you because I don't have a
A
published copy
physical
of it,
copy, yeah.
but I loaded it up on Amazon.com tonight, and that is my favorite. I mean, oh my gosh, the Grand Canyon. So Into the Canyon with Mary Coulter. She was an architect in the 19 teens and built all of the buildings in the Grand Canyon. A female architect, Miss Jackson, exactly who you love. And so now we have travel because in the 1920s, 19 teens, you travel by train. How romantic is that? And then travel to the Grand Canyon and you see these amazing buildings that a female architect built. And the beautiful thing is the connection between the railroad system and the Fred Harvey Company and this female architect, Mary Coulter. It was a perfect storm, the money, and they allowed her to use her talent. Those buildings are still standing.
That is cool. So you did a lot of studying. In order to have a PhD, you had to like be in the classroom for years and hours. Tell us about your education.
Okay, thank you. Well, I was a well because I traveled all over the world with my dad. My schooling was Department of Defense, and I have to tell our listeners, darlings, the Department of Defense (DoD). Uh, oh gosh, if you ever, I mean, I always thought, well, let me be a teacher with DoD because you
Hmm.
get to travel. So they hire people. Of course, my schooling was all done in English. We had extracurricular language, so we learned German and Japanese. But my schooling was exceptional. It was the American military schools, and they brought teachers in from all over the world, and the curriculum was amazing. I have a good memory, so I learned lots, and I've retained a lot, and I use my experience in my writing.
Sandra said she wanted to visit the canyons one day. She's heard a lot about it.
Please go, please go. I mean, the geology of it is unbelievable. We have this wonderful resource in the United States. We have our national park system. Teddy Roosevelt is in my book because we have this park system to value our natural settings,
Hmm.
our God given environments that we all need to experience on some level. Some
Hmm.
people just like to hike. Some people, like myself, I hike and then I write poetry about it.
Well, one time we were talking on the phone. Tell the people that you were out there with your family, sitting on what?
Yeah, I sit on top of a dam. There, we go to Canyon Lake. It's a lake, and all the lakes. You need to hear this. All the lakes in Texas are reservoirs, which means they're man-made lakes, engineered lakes. And Canyon Lake, Central Texas, you can walk across the dam. You can't drive it, but you can walk it. So, darlings, can you imagine the inspiration an author gets walking across a dam on the east side, verdant valleys, and on the west side, the azure lake and the sun setting? Oh my,
Wow.
yes, I sit there
That
and
is funny
write
because
poetry.
yeah, you and your family go out there and you sit and n- tell us about that because I was amazed. You said you're sitting on a crate or something out there in the.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, you're talking about. So, yes, Miss Jackson. Oh my gosh, I wrote a beautiful book entitled All Season We Waited.
Ooh,
Mm.
ooh, I got it.
Well, darling, I'm not a patient person, but sometimes God asks us to sit and be quiet, to listen for his word and his
Yes,
instruction.
yes,
So what Miss Jackson is talking about, listeners, is I sat on an ice chest in
yes.
in a farm, and uh no bathrooms, no house, no refrigerator, sitting on an ice chest. I wrote an epic poem about the industry of cotton farming. My family, myself, owns a cotton farm. We've had this farm since 1902. My great grandparents bought this cotton farm. Yes, farms sell. People sell it off. People die. No, what's happened in my family, they always sold it within the family. So the
Cool.
The 120-year-old cotton farm is still in my family. And I wrote this most beautiful poem. Little babies running all around playing in the dirt and among the plants. The plants are hibiscus, so the cotton plants themselves are gorgeous. And I'm writing an epic poem. All season we waited. Oh my God. Yes, yes, yes.
Well, Amanda, this is funny because we have so many comments coming in all at once. But she said it sounds like you had a love for history as well as writing and travel. What sparked your passion for history?
All right, darling. I need to clarify. Thank you so much, Amanda. But, darling, my passion, I call myself, please, I'm not being offensive. I call myself savant, almost idiot savant, because I only care about science. And in my 50 years in the classroom, my 50 years of teaching, I had the great fortune to only teach science. I never taught social studies. I never even taught language arts. So now I'm writing. But guess what? All of the science that we know, all of the science that we know, here's Isaac Newton. Well, we have to go back to the history of Isaac Newton to understand what he was thinking when he gave us all of these brilliant ideas. And that is the history. Miss Jackson, look what you've got. Darling, you're so precious to me.
I want you all to go and make a purchase. All right, purchase. Go to her website, and Victoria's been so diligent putting her information on the screen.
Thank you, baby.
And yeah. Will you please go and patronize her because she's here for a reason and a purpose. Many of us will not be able to travel to these beautiful places, but God sent her and allowed her to take the journey for us. And that way we can live through her life and see all of the things. You know why? Because she puts mega pictures inside of her books, and so it's just like you're there with her. You know what? We're skipping all around. Barbara, Dr. Barbara, I would like for you at this time to read a portion so they will know and get a touch and a feel for what you documented on your travels. You got to travel with someone named Jill, all right, which is awesome to have a traveling partner, especially one that is of the same like mindset. So you
Right.
can have a fun trip, right?
So one of our listeners asked uh, about my timing in England and the Queen's passing. No, no, no. My partner and I, she was a science teacher. She's retired. I was a science teacher. I'm retired. Our interest in England was to visit these scientists' homes and to hike. So we walked everywhere. And I took Jill on 2 trips. This is a beautiful thing about friendship. I'm going to take Miss Jackson next time.
Yes,
But
please.
yes, yes. I took Jill on 2 trips. I took her to Galapagos to study Charles Darwin, and then 20 years later, I wrote on the island with, remember Galapagos Islands? And then 20 years later, I wrote the book on the island with Charles Darwin. And 2 years later, it shows up in London because it was invited to the London Book Fair.
Wow.
So I have wonderful friends, and it is fun to travel with somebody. And Miss Jackson, I hope it's not too long,
No,
but
just
this,
read a portion. Just read a portion so
all
they
right.
can go and get it. All right.
A journey through science, teaching careers, because Jill and I had teaching careers in the classroom. We brought concepts to life. The science made to bloom through empathy, wearing their strife. So, what we're talking about, listeners, is these scientists didn't have it easy. Yeah, Darwin was rich as anything. He was the richest man in the world. Oh my God, he was so rich. He married the Wedgwood daughter Wedgwood China daughter. Anyway, they had a lot of money. They were published. The family was all published. But that's not the strife, Miss Jackson. The strife is getting your ideas on paper, getting your ideas accepted. Oh my gosh, Edward Jenner. Edward Jenner gave us vaccination. As soon
Wow.
as I tell y'all this story, you're going to recognize him. Edward Jenner gave us the story uh, of vaccination. He was living during a huge worldwide pandemic of smallpox. This
Sure.
this this book makes me cry.
Yes, we
That
learned this stuff in science in school. And so
yes,
your stories are validating what we learned, and it teaches us that the learning was not in vain. A lot of times when we're in school, we're like, we're never going to use this. Why are we learning it? But you're telling us now that everything we learned was essential.
right, right, and everything these scientists they struggled, and the beautiful thing about these four that went to the London Book Fair is they met with great success. They struggled, and then they were accept. Their science was accepted, and they met with great success. Edward Jenner, darling, was given twice. He was given money from Parliament, the British Parliament. So if you take that money from 1700 to today and say, well, how much was 10,000 pounds in 1700? They gave him $1 million, darling.
Really?
He saved the world. He
Wow.
eradicated smallpox.
Yeah.
We owe him so much. Yeah.
Wow.
So
So this is a question on here. How do you feel about the phrase, as an educator, I'll never use this?
what?
Yeah.
What? Well, we learn a lot, and um I think one of the things, the other thing I was, Miss Jackson, as a 50-year science educator, I was a education administrator. And this
Oh,
question is very valid. People ask this all the time. When will I ever use it? And that is a great task for teachers to please, please, please find application of the concept in real life. That's one of our jobs as a
hmm,
teacher, to find application of the concept in real life. Children want to know
they
that
want
it's
to know.
valuable to them to learn this. Maybe though, maybe we teach it in a story form where they just enjoy the story, and then like Miss Jackson, 20 years later, she says she's talking to Barbara Tenbrink, and Barbara Tenbrink says, hey, remember Edward Jenner? And she goes, oh my gosh, I do. I remember we all got our smallpox vaccination.
So,
Yeah.
Dr. Barbara, another way is to show people through an interview, because your energy, they're saying they love your energy. So, your energy is persuading others to go and pick up this book and to read it and to know that it's out there, to bring visibility to you, to know that you exist and that you're still into science and that you want to bring everything to our attention. That's amazing.
Well, we need to talk about that. I wrote an article about 10 years ago. I knew I was eligible to retire. So what was I going to do in retirement? And Miss Jackson, we need to tell our listeners, retirement does not mean you sit on the couch. Your brain is still active, and so I wrote this article. It's called Retooling for Retirement. My question, I went out all over my friends, and they're all my age, and I said, what are you going to do in retirement? I did a survey.
Wow.
What are you going to do? And I was shocked how little planning people had put in place for their retirement, even financially, darling. And now that they're retired, what are they doing? They're sitting on the couch. So in retirement, I owned 4 businesses. This is unbelievable. There's no reason. Yes, I have a lot of energy. My mother had a lot of energy, but there's no reason to think because the school door closed and I left teaching. I still have a lot to contribute, and also I want to be productive. It feels better to be productive. So my 4 businesses are: I own rent properties because I made good investments. I write books, which I'm loving every day. And only today I loaded my 31st book on Amazon.com. I own a cotton farm that my family has owned for 120 years. And I manage a ranch. I am I am a ranch owner with zebra. We have a zebra
Wow.
ranch, if you can
Come
believe it.
on, come on. So, oh my God. Oh my goodness. The impact England had must have been huge for you to write about it for your first trip. Wow.
Thank you for bringing us back to this. This is what I like. The word, the trip was so unique. So these 4 books are invited to England, and
Wow.
I'm going to have a book signing. So the book signing gives you time, date, be here or be square. Jill and I went 2 weeks early. Here's what I wanted to do, Miss Jackson. I had written these 4 books about scientists. I've never been to England. I've never been to Holland, to this gentleman's country. So I wrote these books. They were published, and now they're invited to England because they were invited to the London Book Fair.
That is cool.
Went 2 weeks early, rented a car, which means you drove on the wrong side of the road, on the wrong side of the car. We drove 900 miles. And here's a little map. Let me show you. I love maps in my books. If they're just so graphic.
Hmm.
They give so much information. So here is a map of England, and then my blue line is 900 miles
Wow.
around England. And what the point of it was, to go to the scientists' homes. Now, here's the beautiful thing about England: they have preserved a lot of their history. Maybe it's because their queen served for 70 years. They value longevity. Every one of these homes is a museum and still standing. So we flew into Heathrow. We went to Charles Darwin's house. It's a museum. We toured his house. The Wedgwood china is still sitting on the dining room table. His taxidermy little birds, remember? It was the finch's beaks, remember? It's on the cover. The finch's beaks, the taxidermy birds were in cases in his house. So we went
Wow.
to Charles Darwin's house. We toured. We had tea in his garden. We let me do it this way because the next stop we went to Isaac Newton's home. This is the sweetest thing you'll ever hear. Yes, it was privately owned. The people in the who lived in this house for 200 years kept it exactly the way Isaac Newton left it.
Wow. That's what I was telling my daughter today. She was like, how do they know?
Well, pictures and photographs and notebooks. That's the other thing. That's the underlying theme of my writing, Miss Jackson, is all,
Look, she
all
said, did you read that? She said, I have to know, did you really say you have a zebra ranch and then a zebra ranch and then look, someone on Twitch, Gabby, the Gabby show, how many zebras are on your ranch?
all right. So that's a little aside. In 2020, my husband and I bought a piece of land, a piece of property, and it had been foreclosure. The gentleman who lost the ranch and we got to buy it had run exotics. So it was foreclosure, so nobody bothered to clean it up. And when we bought it, it conveyed with 24 zebras. I wrote a book about it. There's a book
24.
on, of course I did. There's a book on Amazon.com, Dr. Barbara Tenbrink, The Zebra Herders of Yellow Wolf Ranch. So we buy this land, it comes with 24 zebra. Oh my gosh. What do oh my gosh. Amazing, amazing animals. Everybody loves them. They're so unique to watch and beautiful animals.
The
Unbelievable.
Gabby Show. Gabby says she needs an invite. She loves animals. She says, I'm definitely getting that book.
Gabby,
And
you live.
Beverly says 24 zebras. That's a lot of zebras. And
It's
then
many.
Sandra wants to know about your driving. She made two comments about this. She says driving is tedious as it is. You're telling me I have to reverse everything I know. That'd be challenging for me.
Her name is Sandra.
Yeah, that's my daughter. She's 18.
Sandra, this. When we get to the airport, and now we're going to rent our car, and we're going to drive around England for 900 miles. They rented us a standard shift. We went, wait a minute. We have to drive on the wrong side of the road and sitting in the wrong side of the car and shift gears with our wrong arm. I know how to drive a standard, but with the other arm. Now you're telling me I have to change the gears with this arm? What? I So they upped us for an automatic. Thank you. That helped. But here was the beautiful thing, Sandra. We had two people. One of them was driving and the other was navigating. And I tell about it in my book. We had to keep saying, get over to the left, move over to the left, move over. Your brain wants you to move to the right. We drive on the right side. So the navigator always reminded the other person, move over to the left. It helped so much.
And then you talked about the roundabouts.
Well, this is what you talked about this last when we had our little conversation last. We made a lot of mistakes. And you make mistakes when you travel. Please just know, hey, it's fixable. I can fix this. The beautiful thing that Miss Jackson is talking about is the roundabouts. Now, England doesn't have red lights. No, no. Everybody goes around a roundabout. Well, the beautiful thing about that is if you make a mistake, just go around again. It takes all the anxiety out of, I made a mistake. Oh, I missed my turn. Well, just keep going around and your turn will come up again.
You said something in your book about mistakes. I want to try to find that, Barbara, because I had a question that I can't seem to find in
It,
here.
it was right
Uh,
at the beginning. Let me find it too.
uh-huh. Listen, audience, she said something so profound about making mistakes. Sometimes we make mistakes and we're very hard on ourselves. And so I made a point to really, she says, we made it harder than it was.
Yes.
She said, we were nervous. All right. And she just talking just plain English. We did not know what to expect. Jill had experience driving an RV in New England. I had no experience. Listen to her. She's speaking. Anticipating mistakes caused us to make mistakes. That is a huge lesson. Anticipating mistakes will cause you to make mistakes. Why? Because you're already, oh my gosh, the comments are really coming in. I'm going to have to invite my panel on to do this because I have to leave and we have 20 minutes left, right? But keep the comments coming. And Barbara, what I want you to do is when the show goes off, I want you to go back and answer their questions on
Yes.
YouTube. If you
Yes.
if you can do that, all right?
Yes.
Because they're very intrigued with your story, which means you're going to have to come back, right? But I wanted to say something else you said. Um, the
Well,
median removed the fear. from the oncoming traffic on your right. Jill figured out the information painted on the roads, helping you navigate, merge, exit, and enter. The lesson, no, remembering to look right, then left, squeezing into a tiny space to let oncoming cars through narrow lanes. I couldn't imagine doing that by myself. Thank God you had a partner.
Well, darlings, we live in America, and what do? We get the bulldozers and we wipe everything out and build bigger roads, more shoulders, more access roads, more on ramps, more off ramps. Not in England. They're still living those, driving on those tiny little country roads, no shoulders, no curbs. In town, the houses are right up onto the road. If and thank goodness all the cars are small, but you're not going to find 18 wheelers going through town delivering. They eat locally, whatever's the produce locally. They don't have 18 wheelers filling up giant grocery stores like we have at all. They eat locally, they eat seasonally.
Again, please purchase this book on Amazon. Um, the book is by Dr. Brink's A Journey Through England. When I tell you it is very descriptive and very, can you show the pictures as I'm talking, Doctor?
Yeah.
She showed pictures in her book, which is very intriguing to let you know, to see where they were from day to day. She didn't go alone, which is a remarkable thing. She shared this book for you, and she has 31 books, and she just downloaded a book today. Now, you know that's a woman on a mission. She is trying to do this for us, you all. She's doing this for us. She didn't have to do that, right? All right, Doctor. What I'm going to ask you to do, because we have a few more minutes, I want to I love to travel, and I know other people love to travel. Sometimes not having finances hinders people from traveling. They have a desire, but they can't do it. But what I would like for Dr. Brinks to do, is to Tim Brinks. I just cut off your name. I'm sorry. uh, would you pray for those who have a passion to travel and
Dear Heavenly
they, yeah,
Father, thank you so much
thank
that
you,
you gave us this amazing earth and all of the different continents, oceans, countries, cultures, peoples all over this earth. Some of us have a burning curiosity to meet and greet and go and come and see things and experience new things, uh, new foods, new cultures, even new clothing. What amazing things! This entire earth is just every every step we take takes us into a new environment that we want to experience. So dear heavenly Father, thank you for giving us this earth with its beautiful vistas and its beautiful countryside and cities even. Yes, and give us the wisdom to take care of our environment when we go to appreciate the cultures and the people who have made that place their home,
thank you.
and help us organize ourselves where we can manage our money so that we can use it for travel, that we can learn and experience other people. Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much. They said that was nice. All right. Thank you so much for praying, because prayer is always honorable. And we accept prayer on our show because we want to move people, we want to shake people. All right. The person that I interviewed last week is on. How about that? Come on, tell Mr. Martin hello. Yes, yes, yes. And all of those that remember what he talked about last week about making money. If you're interested, Doctor, I always call you Doctor, but put your phone number on here as well. All right, welcome Joy Anderson. She's on as well. Thank you everyone for showing up tonight. You showed up big. We're gonna have to have you again. All right, we're gonna have to have you again. Um, uh, Twitch is just burning tonight. Yes, and Dr. Martin, Mr. Martin said hello to everybody. Who can tell me what prayer this is? May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and gracious and be gracious to you. May the Lord um, cause his face to shine upon you. Who is that by? Who can tell me? Who knows what that prayer is? No one knows on the panel.
It's in the Bible. I just don't know where, which
Yes.
actual, and it's actually a few songs as well. I'm trying to figure out
Yes.
where it is.
Let me put it back up because it's at the very end. Can you read that? Oh no, it's covering it. All right. That's Jeremiah 6:24 through 26.
Right.
So you
Okay.
want to read that and keep it close to your heart, all right? Because that is the benediction. It's a benediction. And so, yes,
I was going to say Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 through
yeah, that's
26.
Numbers. I'm sorry. I said Jeremiah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I recognize but don't know. Yeah. So we
Yeah, I
want
know
to
you
bring,
knew it.
yeah, an awareness. Each time we have a show, we want to pique your interest and cause you to learn something more and more because that's what growth is all about. Victoria was so intrigued by the show tonight. She said, "My appreciation for science has grown so much tonight, just off of this little bit of learned she's learned tonight." So we thank you, Dr. Tim Brinks, for sharing. I'm so honored that I met you. And if I hadn't traveled and you hadn't traveled, we wouldn't have never met each other. So what
No,
am I saying? Mhm.
yeah.
What am I saying? You must do what you must do. You must go where you must go. All right. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes you get distractions to get in your way when you're preparing to go somewhere. Push, go anyway, right? Because you never know the intersection. You never know who you're going to meet, what's going to happen. And had I not made that trip, I wouldn't have never met her. I would have never seen her get her award. And so we congratulate you tonight for all of your efforts that you have contributed to society because you are sparking someone else's interest and you're causing others to dream big, right? Just by your testimony, just by your traveling. You didn't realize that your trips were not only for you, it was for the multitudes. Yes, Beverly?
Yes, you that was the Aaronic blessing from the priest Aaron. You
Yes.
asked who said,
Cool. Thank you so much for that information. It's imperative that we know. Um, yes, thank you so much. They're saying thank you and congratulations for every all of your feats because it wasn't easy. And she only started writing 2 years ago. You all right? Yes.
I yes, yes. Unbelievable.
See what you can do in 2 years. See what the pandemic birthed. I birthed a lot during the pandemic too, and it's just crazy. Like we appreciate
Yes,
you sharing. What I want to say is allow um, life's trials and tribulations to be unraveled tonight. Start peeling off the layers, all right, and watch what happens. Sometimes the layers don't want to come off, but if you peel them off one by one, your life will begin to be shaped and groomed, and you will begin to love yourself again. Yes, one by one. Your trials didn't come to stop you, they came to push you. All right. Um, would you like to say anything else, Dr. Tinbrink?
I just want to tell everybody thank you for being here tonight. It is so fun for me to share with you the fact that Sandra and I met. We both met in a triangle. She left her home, I left my home, and we met at Atlanta. And look at us, we're already besties, and I'm besties with all of the audience tonight who've left comments. Thank you so much for your interest and your participation, your enthusiasm.
Yes, I love you all, and there's not a thing you can do about it. So I'm going to sign off, all right, because I have to go. Please come follow me over to Dr. Hunter's show. There will be people speaking from all walks of life. I have a short 10 minutes to deliver the message that God has given me, and I think it's a word for you as well. How many will come over and join me tonight? I appreciate you. Please leave comments, like, and share so we can build that platform. Guess how many is going to be in the audience? Like over 1,000 people will
What?
be there. All right, over 1,000 people. You
Wow.
can leave a comment and they will be able to see it. You never know. You may be invited to that platform as well. So come on over, all right? May God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. Please send your gifts one by one. Please send a gift for your family. If your family enjoyed this, let them contribute. Let your children contribute, all right? What are the links? We're going to find the links one more time. Dr. Tim Brink, tell them your website. Can they get it on your website?
Yes, www.author, AUTHOR, Barbara 10 Brink.
All right. If you would like an interview, please call this number right here, 317-900-1149. If you would like to gift to this program, as we are on the move for Christ, these are the ways you can gift as well. May God bless you. May heaven smile upon you, is my prayer. All right. God is doing great things, you all, and He's moving and moving and moving. I'm going to mention this one last project and then we're going to sign off. I am the visionary of a huge project that God gave me, and it is big. I cannot even tell you how big it is, but y'all know me. When the Lord tell me to do something and I do it, it comes out big, right? Well, this one is the biggest ever. So I was awakened by God and couldn't sleep the whole entire night, you all. So you know this is big, all right? So can I tell you? He says to me, you know how people say those kids are untrained. Why didn't their parents teach them? He said to me, what are you going to do about it? So I'm saying to you, what are you going to look at Amanda's eyes? I'm saying to you, what are you going to do about it? Because I need parents to come and join with me and write some tips of what you have used that worked in your family to instill the children that you have, what worked and what didn't work. I know there are no perfect parents anywhere. We understand that. But something worked and something didn't work. And the new parents that are on the scene would like to know what you did to help them out. Good night. Gotta go. If you would like to join that project, you better hit me up because I already have people already signed up and people who have already sent in their down payment installment. Good night. I gotta go. That's my warning. I love you all.
Bye,
Goodbye.
everybody.
Dr. Brink, I need you to call me tomorrow, all right? God
Yes.
bless you. Bye
Yes.
bye.